Start with a new, I've called this online sample. I've just put in a new folder in my Year 10 IGS automation. I'm going to start with a sketch. I'm going to start with that sketch on top. So go to the navigation cube, select top, and we can select that plane to sketch on. I want a rectangle. I'm going to go with the rectangle 100 by 300, which gives us this. Close our data panel. I'm going to extrude that. So E for extrude. I'm going to go below that work plane by 10 and click enter. Oh no, what I forgot to do there was turn that into a component. So if I come over here to bodies and click the expansion arrow, you can see that I have the one body. I'm just going to right click on that and I'm going to say create components from bodies, and it will then generate the component. So I'll rename that base just so that we keep it clear. Okay, and I'm going to select the top surface of our base. We're going to put another sketch on there. And again, I want another rectangle. This rectangle we're going to make 70. That's not quite right. We want 70 long. We're going to go with 20 wide, 70 long. I'm going to place that in there, and we'll extrude that shape up to creating another new component. So select that rectangle. E for extrude. We're going to lift that up 80. We don't want to join in our operation, so over to your extrude dialog box, go to new component, and select OK. And the component comes up. We're going to call this the stand. Okay, like I said, this is going to be a very basic model, nothing too complicated. On our stand, new sketch, we're going to put a circle in the middle here. I'm going to make that circle 15. Use the D for dimension tool to go from the middle of the circle out to the edge. This we want to be 35, that puts that right in the middle. D for dimension again, center of the circle to the top of our stand. And that dimension we want to be 20, which is fine. We're going to extrude that circle, so E for extrude. Select the circle shape, and we want to pull that right back through our stand. And then click OK. So this is now where we're going to extrude a shaft or a rod, and we can start that by selecting the inside face of our stand. If we select extrude, we want to select our circle again. This time we don't want it one-sided, we want it two-sided. Not symmetric, because that's going to go the same distance either way. We want two-sided. We're going to drag the first side out 40 millimeters, the second side out 20 millimeters. This is what it then looks like from the top. We don't want to join, we want another new component, so select new component and click OK. OK. We can call this the pin. And this is how we're going to do it. Now we haven't got any relationships on this at all yet, so no joins, and we can just pick up any of these pieces and move them around. They're drawn in their location, and that's fine, but we need to actually give them a relationship, some sort of joint, so that they actually work together. So before we go and add another relationship, we're going to select on the end of our pin, another sketch. This is where we're going to draw our wheel. So on there we need a circle. We need that to be 15, the first circle, same size as our pin and the hole in our base, or in our stand, sorry. Second circle, we're going to offset a little bit. So I'm going to come up here and draw a circle like this. We go dimension, the distance between the two circles. I'm going to make that 15. I'm also going to dimension the circle, and we're going to make that the size of that circle. Let's try say 60. Perfect. So you can see there, our circle is going to rotate around this point. And we need to extrude that so we have a solid surface. So we're going to select E for extrude. Our wheel, we're going to go back below the work plane. We'll do that 10. And we're going to create another new component. And select OK. So we'll call this wheel. We now have enough components that we can actually start to give these a relationship and give these a joint. Okay, so any and all of these we can move around. So I'm going to start with the base piece. I'm going to select the whole object, not just the face. Right click, I'm going to say ground. I'm going to do the same with our stand, ground. So those two pieces now can't move. What we can move is our wheel and our pin. So we can select those two. We need to give these a relationship now. And so we go up to join, capture the position, and we want to select the edge of our circle, or the edge of our pin. Okay, send here. You've got to be very careful about what you select, an edge or a face. And I'm going with the edge there as well. Now these two things align themselves. And we now need to check on our position and our motion. So our position here, we want to slide this along 20. We get that back in the correct position around the back here. It's in line and flush now. And our motion on that join, we want a revolute. Okay, that's indicated by the arrow spinning around here. So that's going to rotate around within the stand. And we click OK. That's exactly what we're after. The second join we're going to do, we're going to join, so back up to join, or you can click J as a shortcut key. We're going to select the circle on our wheel, and we're going to attach that to the end of our pin, and you can see it's got a revolve. Now that's not quite what we're after for this particular join, because we already have a revolve. It's in the stand, So we're going to edit that in motion. I'm going to make that fixed. And you can see that that shakes and shows us that it's one part now. There is no movement there. And we click OK. So in its very simplest form, we have a wheel on a pin and linked to a base. If I come over to joints here on the left and I expand that out, you can see I have one revolve and I have one rigid join, and those are indicated by the green or the aqua markings here and here. If I click on Revolve, right click, I want to animate model. This is going to give me an idea about what it's doing. So if I click animate model, you can see here we now have that wheel rotating. This gives us our circular movement, and this is what will ultimately give us our up and down movement for our project. Okay, so escape to stop that one. The easiest way to get up and down movement from that is actually to select our wheel, put a new sketch on there, C for circle. We're going to add a pin at the top here, maybe 5mm. E for extrude, we select that circle. We want to bring that one out, let's say 10. We want to join it to the wheel. We can check where we're joining it because this is the active component over here, the wheel. We're going to join it to our active component. So we'll click OK. This then works as a hinge, and anything that we attach to this pin you would do with the Revolve join, so that it could move round and round as it needed to. The rest of your design then follows on from that. So, like I said, I hope this has helped, and